gaskets for the side cover. If you see this gasket material that I've got on this side cover right now on a micrometer, it's 31 thousandths thick. This gasket right here is. Okay, when you put this on here, give her a little snug up. Okay, you see how much play I got right there? Well, you can measure it if you want to, but you can see it's way too much. Now, I have found out that most of these gaskets right here will be no thicker than a sheet of normal writing paper. That was 31 thousandths on that gasket. And I'll show you something. We know that one's too much. So take that gasket off. And this gasket right here is 14 thousandths. So we'll put that one on here, and the way you get the size on these gaskets is you take one of these calipers here and put it right in the small part in yonder, right in there and over yonder, and make it touch. When you slide it across through there, it should be the exact size. And then to measure this on the scale to know what size hole you need to cut, that right there is 2 1/2 1/16 is how big that is. Okay, half of that is 1 1/4 and a little bit. So you set this compass on 1 1/4 and a little bit, and then you put it on your gasket material and make a circle yonder all the way around there. You got the circle, that's the inside of the hole, and you just cut it proud all the way around the outside like that. And then when you put it on yonder, you put it down in the bottom down there and make it come around. And when it gets on there correct, when you get it down in that groove down yonder, it'll fit. So, and you leave it proud on the outside, put it up on yonder, and you see how much play we got? We've only got half or a little less than what we had just a little bit ago. Now, I'm not going to tighten it up, but you see yonder? Oh, that's that right there is, there's some play. Once I put the gasket sealer on there and tighten this up, I will take up probably half of that, and that will be really good. Once I get it on there, and then I'll take a blade, go around there and trim that excess gasket away, and we'll be good to go. But that's the way you adjust the side play on there. These 2 cylinders do not have a adjustment out here on the outboard. You adjust the crankshaft side play by the thickness of this gasket. So we're carrying right along. Okay, I'm going to clear away the bushing tools now, and the next we're going to fit the rods to the throws on the crankshaft, and then we're going to put the governor in the crankshaft before we put it in the engine. You can put it right down in that hole right there if you want to. Either way is okay. We're going to clear away, and we'll come back and fit the rods. Pistons, rings, rods, and this right here, it's in the Maytag book. And this is a sure way to know if you have a 1937 or older rod. These rods did not have the oil gap right here. And in the Maytag book later on, it tells you how to file that gap right there on both sides, all 4 of them. This is truly a 1937 rod that has not been modified. We will modify it before we put it back in there. Now, if I bring something to your attention, when I disassemble this engine, if you remember back yonder, before I took it apart, I put them two little punch marks. The little mark right there and the little mark right over yonder, I put them on there so that I would know which side the cylinder was. Well, once I got it cleaned up, somebody else has put a mark right here. Probably a Maytag repairman of old. These cylinders will go either way. It does not matter. I just wanted to keep them in relationship to bring it to your attention. So this would go like this. It's upside down. That go right there, and this cylinder would go on this side. Okay. Now, there's also a little notch right there on the flange of that cylinder to go along with the little notch right there on the side of that rod, which I done put that on there. I did that. The piston, this is the top of the piston right up here. So, working with it upside down, it'll go like that. That one will go over here. This one will go over here like that. That's the way they go. The reason that is important is the crankshaft goes in the housing like this right here. Okay, when you're fitting the rods, this rod here will go on that side. This rod over here will go on this side. The reason you know that is because when you look at the crankcase, it's offset. This one being up this way, that one being down that way. So we know where the rods goes. We know which is top and bottom. So another thing, the top is got those casting marks in there. This is the top, that's the top. It's upside down, so I'm going to put it back like that. Now that's the way everything goes back together. If you remember, these wrist pins were free to, the little part was a missing. So this wrist pin could move back and forth, and you can see how shiny it is there on the edge, both edges. That's where it has rubbed the cylinder. But in order for it not to do any harm to the cylinder, is that wrist pin is free to go back and forth in there. So it's no pressure. If that's over touching the side of the cylinder, there's no pressure on it. It's just there. The part that was missing are these little aluminum discs. One would go there. When we put it back together, we'll put them in there. One would go over there. So it takes 4 of them, 2 for each piston. So these are used ones here, which I'm going to put in there. Now here is 2. I'm not going to use these in this particular engine, but here is 2. That's a new old stock, like that. So, but I'm going to use 4 used ones so that it'll be on the same par of the rest of the engine. So that's that. Now, the rings, I removed them from the pistons, and you can see how shiny they are. They're glazed over, really, really shiny. And if you look at them on the side profile, they're really thin. The rings are worn really bad. So I do have a new set of rings to put in it. But you can see how badly those are. They're just slicker than glass. So we will replace those. The other thing to bring to mind is these internal tooth lock washers. One fell apart, one was broken on both sides, and this one right here it's broke right there. Oh, it fell apart then too. So, and there was 2 good ones, but I do have 4 new replacement lock washers, and it's a good idea just to replace the lock washer in general anyways, because they do lose tension. But that'll get us up to now.